Facebook. It is Vanessa here again, your motivational speaker, trainer and head coach from Live, Love, Give. And today I have a message for everybody out there who is looking to change some form of behavior in their life and really make a difference. So a lot of us can, get caught up in these kind of behaviors that we wish we didn't do and we kind of feel out of control of. And ultimately, I want to bring a new perception to you guys in the hope that it empowers you to recognize what's really going on. And then once we have that kind of self-awareness, that's the foundational piece to making any sort of changes that we really are called to make. So definitely want to dive into that with you guys today. And I want you guys to be thinking about anywhere in your life where you're currently engaging in some form of behavior or inaction, an action or an inaction that you wish you could change, but you kind of feel out of control of. Or maybe there's somebody in your life who is engaging in what you might call some form of addictive behavior that you can see that it's creating pain and trauma in their lives, and you wonder why the hell they can't just stop doing it and change, because you're seeing, the chaos and the pain and all that sort of stuff that it may be creating in their lives. And I want today's message to ultimately give you a different perspective, because the real reason why any of us engage in what we might call addictive behavior is ultimately because our brain has a perception that is in the subconscious. We're often not aware of it, particularly if we keep saying we want to change this kind of behavior. But our brain has a perception that there are more advantages over disadvantages for continuing to engage in this kind of behavior, and there are more disadvantages than advantages in quitting that behavior or making the change. So every single decision that we as an individual make, whether we know why or not, it's ultimately because we see more advantages as opposed to disadvantages in taking that action or that inaction or whatever we're doing in our lives. So there is this subconscious analysis going on constantly that is kind of gauging, okay, if I take this action or not take this action, what will give me the maximum amount of advantages and take me away from the disadvantages. You might look at it as, what will give me the most pleasure versus pain? What will give me the most, comfort over discomfort? The most positives over negatives. And we're constantly analyzing all of our decisions before we make them, whether we're conscious or not, and we always will go for whatever the kind of behavior, the action or the inaction that will give us the most perceived advantages over disadvantages. And so that's the foundational piece that we really need to get through our brains. So if you're saying you want to stop overeating, or you want to stop binge drinking, or you want to stop smoking, or you want to stop taking drugs, or you want to stop lying, or you want to stop being angry, whatever the kind of behavior is, or the action or the inaction or whatever it is, you need to get real with yourself, and you need to get brutally honest with yourself. And I've just had one of the most incredible experiences of my life that has solidified this in my own experience, because you guys have been watching me, particularly over the last week, know that I just got back from one of Dr. John Demartini's events called the Breakthrough Experience. And the whole purpose of this 2-day event is to get you out of your insanity and to get you back into reality. And most of us say we want to get over certain things, say we want to get out of these traumatic experiences, say we want to get over our grief, say we want to get over our resentments. But at the end of the day, why aren't we doing it? Because we see a lot more advantages versus disadvantages in changing in staying the same, and we see a lot more disadvantages over advantages in making a change. And logically, And consciously, on the conscious, what we're saying we want to do, we don't see that. And we're reaching out, we're trying to gain support, we're trying to find the answers. But I'm telling you right now, if you're not getting traction in what you say you want to change, then ultimately it's because you're not tackling what's going on in your subconscious. And there are a number of people in this room. There was close to 70 or 80 people, I'd say, in this room. I'd say about 90% of people were really making traction in this process, but it was difficult, it was challenging, it was a lot of work and a lot to face. But there was probably a small handful of, say, that 10% of people who were really rubbing up against everybody in that room who was trying to support them and help them. And ultimately, what I was seeing that wasn't working was that, the people who were kind of trying to support these people through the process, they were jumping to taking the action and going through the process that will ultimately, allow these people to break through and be free of their grief, of their resentment, and all the things and the struggles that are holding them back, those lopsided negative perceptions and wishing things could be different, or behaviors that they're engaging in. And what really needed to be done before you could even get to that stage, from my perspective, was you needed to add up for these people, what are the advantages that you are seeing in keeping yourself stuck in this mentality, in this set of actions or inactions and behaviors that you're really engaging in. Otherwise, if there weren't any advantages, perceived advantages in your mind, you wouldn't be doing it, right? So we need to get clear, we need to get honest, and we need to get real about what those are. And then secondly, then we need to see and identify all of the disadvantages that you staying stuck in this mentality, in these actions or inactions. We need to get clear on all of those disadvantages, what they are if you stay the same as you are right now. And ideally, we need to get to a place where we've not only got really deep about all of the advantages that you're not even conscious of, but ultimately they're there. Otherwise, you wouldn't be engaging in this kind of behavior. We need to get clear. We need to get real. We need to get honest. And I would say to any of you guys out there, if you say you're seriously committed to making a change, I challenge you to find a minimum of 20, if not 50 or 100, depending on how committed you are to making a serious change and bringing all that subconscious to the surface. And ultimately, I challenge you to identify minimum of 20, ideally 50 or 100 different advantages that are taking place in your life right now with you staying stuck in this so-called behavior that you want to change. They're there. Believe me, if you're not making any changes, you've got some advantages that you're not facing and tackling and being honest with yourself about. And then once you've done that, I want you to at least match the exact number of advantages that you've found through engaging in the behavior that you're looking to change, with all of the disadvantages that being this way is bringing to your life. And I want you to add a few extras. The more extras that you can focus on finding all the disadvantages, how this is playing out, not only in the primary, but the secondary and beyond, different disadvantages that this behavior is bringing to your life. And once we can stack those disadvantages over and above the advantages that you're being honest with yourself that you're actually getting from behaving this way that you say you want to change, once we can bring the disadvantages over and above the advantages, that is when you will finally be inspired to actually do the work to make a serious change. And this, to me, was the missing key for some of the people in that room who didn't break through. They should have started with this. They should have been trained to start with this, from my perception. And definitely, if you are somebody and you know that there's this conscious behavior or state of being that you keep saying you want to change, whatever it is, an addictive behavior, some sort of way of being that you feel kind of out of control of, I want you to get honest with yourself, find all of the advantages, bring them all up. You say you can't think of another advantage, then just ask yourself, well, what if I did know another advantage that I'm getting here? How else is it affecting me? Look at the different areas of life where it's paying off for you to operate in this realm. Get honest with yourself. If you can't get honest with yourself about the advantages and exactly why you're holding on to this story, you'll never do the work to break through and make the changes, and you'll continue to live in the fantasy of thinking that you're not getting anything from it, and of course you want to change, but your actions say differently. Nobody ever does anything that they do not see more advantages over disadvantages in doing. And it is your job to get honest with yourself and then to stack up more disadvantages than advantages for a behavior that you want to change. And guaranteed, if you do that and you get that perception into your brain, there's no stopping you. You will make the change. And yes, I'm really passionate about this subject because I want us to break free of our fantasies of continuing to say that we want to make these changes and we're not making them, and it's driving ourselves and everybody around us absolutely insane. And you've got more intelligence and you've got more control over your life and where you want that to go than you absolutely realize. And my wish is for each and every one of us to break free of the fantasy and step forward into reality from a place of true empowerment and knowing why we do what we do and having the tools to make those shifts and those changes. And if any of you guys would like support or guidance or help with that, because I know that sometimes, this might be the first kind of time where you're kind of hearing this perspective, and if it's kind of like you're interested, you're not quite getting it, I would love to support and help you. This is the work that I do. My hope is that I can be of service to help people break free to empowerment and start being truthful and honest with themselves and living authentically so that they can ultimately tap into whatever their genius is, whatever their creative flow is, and feel like their life can make a meaningful difference in this world and get out of the mindless, childish fears and limitations that we all get stuck in, as human beings, but break free of that and get the tools you need to get on an empowering pathway forward. So if that's of interest to you, let me know and I'll send you the link to my calendar. I open up these free sessions so that I can do just that and help you on the individual level. So let me know, send me a quick message if you're interested in that. And on the other side of that, I really would love your help and assistance to give me some feedback as to how I could be adding more value to your lives. That's why I show up each and every day in the hope that I can be of some sort of value. And it really helps me if I know what's going on for you at the individual level, so I can start to see some patterns and see what's going on in your world and definitely cater to your challenges, your struggles, and help you push on through and get to a place of empowerment. So there's a link up above for a really couple of minute quick survey that I would so appreciate your feedback on, so I can know what's going on in your world. And also, if you haven't already, please come on over and join us in the Limitless Potential Inner Circle Facebook community. We would love to have you a part of that growing community, and it is full of like minds, beautiful souls from across the globe, and we'd love for you to be a part of it. So links for those two are above, and I definitely want to check in with you guys and see who's been able to join me. Please say hi. I love connecting with you guys, and if you have any questions or comments or feedback that you'd love for me to engage with live with you right now, definitely drop them below as we go through right now. And I'm going to check in. I've got Christy and Hassani and Alexandria and Kathy and Sam and Jessica and Sasha and Alexandra. Spirit sister, yeah, I love it. And Jessica's here, hello, and Mario and Debbie and Judy and Mitchell and Hilton and Gabrielle and Kathy, hello there, beautiful. Self-awareness is so important. Inaction is a huge disadvantage in living your life. Lack of awareness places you in your comfort zone. Absolutely. And I'm always saying that your comfort zone is such a fallacy. It creates so much more discomfort by you trying to hold on to your perception of comfort. And so, the whole concept of comfort zone is just crazy to me. And I totally agree with what you're saying there, Kathy. We need to be self-aware so that we have that foundational piece to create empowerment in our lives and stop thinking that we're so out of control and actually start getting real, knowing that everything you do or don't do has a payoff, and you've calculated in your brain this perception of being more advantages in staying the same than making the change. So we've got to get real if we ever want to get empowered. So I love that, Kathy, and thanks for being here. And I've got Lisa and Alex and Gidardo. Well, sorry if I butchered that name, but I love having you here. And Jolene and Jason and Savula and Marco and Gabrielle. I struggle just doing what I need to do to take action and can't figure out what's stopping me, wasting too much precious time. Beautiful. This is a video for you then, Gabrielle. You are speaking into the human experience, and I think every single one of us has had the experience of procrastination and saying that we want to do this but never really getting around to it. Couple of different levels here. Number one, got to know what you value. If you're setting goals outside of what's truly meaningful to you and you're subordinating to the values or your perception of the values of others or what you think they should be as opposed to what they really are, you're never going to get into meaningful, inspired action in the direction of those goals that you're setting. So wipe them out. If it's something that just keeps going on and on and on, look at your values, get in alignment with setting goals in alignment with your values. You guys, I'm always pushing you to Dr. John Demartini's website, drdemartini.com, values determination, do the test, keep coming back to it. It is awesome. I'm just going to keep pushing you guys to his work because I've had so much immense value and I continue to get so much immense value from his work that I want you guys to do the same. It's life-changing, revolutionary stuff. Secondly, then you've really got to see how you not doing the work and not getting into that action is actually you're seeing more advantages as opposed to disadvantages in not taking the action, and you've stacked up more disadvantages as opposed to advantages in taking the action. So you can either, get attuned to your values, but then balance it out and then try and get more disadvantages than advantages in terms of not taking the action, and up level more advantages as opposed to disadvantages in taking the action. It's as simple as that. It takes real clarity, it takes work, but if the definition of insanity, like we've heard a million times from the brilliant Albert Einstein, is the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. If this is a pattern in your life, recognize that you are getting a payoff from behaving the way that you are, whatever that is, whether it's taking some sort of action or not taking any action at all. Identify what it is. Get brutally honest and real with yourself if you want to make a change, and stop living in a fantasy and setting the same goals for yourself, and then stack up the advantages for moving in the direction that you wish to take. I really hope that that's helpful to you, Gabrielle, and I always appreciate you sharing your experience here, you beautiful soul. And Adil's here, and Jason and Jeannie and Jed and Shlomo and Ian and MD and Jamie, loving yourself enough to deal with all your inner child emotional issues along with your adult issues that you have stuffed down so far that you are able to bring them back up, deal with them. They served its purpose and release them to move forward as a higher consciousness. Absolutely. We've all got baggage. We've all got stuff that these beliefs that we generated at a young age that are trapped in our subconscious that we haven't brought up to the surface to actually break through and acknowledge the insanity that they are, and that's been a huge part of my journey and why I was living an inauthentic life. Between the ages of 0 to 7 is who we create in our minds, we create a perception as to who we need to be in order to get love and approval from the people closest to us. And most of us never bring those perceptions up to the surface, and we allow them, somebody who's less than 7 years old determines the course of your life, who's not emotionally intelligent, who only has a limited experience, and who you are as an adult. You've had a lot more experiences, you have a lot more knowledge and information and wisdom as to who you really are and where you really want to get to. So we have to acknowledge that, we made a lot of stuff up as children that is guiding our life. And until we acknowledge it, bring it up to the surface, question it, change it, and get to an empowered place, we're going to be limited. And so we have to do the work to overcome our past and move to an exciting, inspiring future, and not just think that there's some easy way out and somebody else will come into our lives and magically change everything. We've got to do the work, and the work starts with being honest with yourself and bringing those fears up to the surface. Totally agree, Jamie. And you are so appreciated as always. Thank you so much. And Sam, love that. Merging advantages and disadvantages and getting clarity and breakthrough. Boom, you've got it, Sam. I love that. And Melissa's here, and Chris and Martin. Oh, happy Valentine's Day to you. Much love. And Gabrielle, you're reminding me of DeMartini's story about his overweight female with the overweight family and how this helped her. Absolutely. He was just telling that story on the weekend, and how we can get so stuck in this mentality that we think we want to lose weight, like this story that DeMartini tells. This woman who was very overweight, she couldn't stop eating, and she said consciously she wanted to make a change. She wanted to lose weight. But as he dug through with her as to all of the advantages and payoffs that she was getting through being overweight and continuing to overeat, it got really deep in terms of, connection to her father, connection with her family, not wanting to be an outsider, also relationship challenges that she'd had in the past where a man, she lost some weight and a man was interested in her, and she slept with him and got pregnant, and he disappeared, and she had a miscarriage, and we've had all these different things that stack up that we have no idea. And on the surface, she just thinks she's an overweight woman who tries so hard to lose weight, and she doesn't know why she can't. Well, you got to go deep, and you got to understand and uncover all of those advantages and payoffs that are there, because guaranteed, if you're engaging in that behavior, you have already made it in your mind's analysis that there are much more advantages than disadvantages in continuing to be the same. So I love that you brought that up, Gabrielle. That was a really, really short version of that story. I hope it still made sense to anybody out there who has no idea what we're talking about there. But I so appreciate that, Gabrielle and Hassani. This was awesome. I'll be working on this. Thank you. You're so welcome. I love it. It always touches my heart when you guys are action takers and you get into action on these videos and what I'm sharing with you. That's the reason why I do what I do. So you are so appreciated. Thanks, Hass. And Chris, you are so welcome, as always. And thanks for being here. And Paul's here, and Jeannie, I'm loving that this is a great message for you today. And Sam, yes, getting fantasies into reality and breaking through insanity of doing the same things, expecting different results. Abso-freaking-lutely. Absolutely, Sam. Amanda's here. Awesome to see you. And Rondi and Adam and Fab Guy. I'm loving that this is a great message for you. And Dwayne and Susan and Peter and Cameron. Much love to you. So guys, I'm really hoping that me sharing this is going to get you hit with a bit of truth. I'm all about truth. I love a bit of truth. I love a bit of a wake-up call. And I think that, anybody who's committed to growing and empowering themselves is going to be loving the truth, waking up to the truth as well. So I really hope that this wasn't over your head. I hope you got some value from it. As I said, if you want some extra support or guidance, please reach out. This is the work that I love doing so much, to break us all free of these fantasies and these perceptions of our limitations so that we can ultimately leave all that crap behind and get in alignment with the truth and the greatness of what all of us have. We all have a genius. We all have a greatness that needs to be unleashed, and we get so stuck in our lives we're thinking that we're trying to make these changes and thinking we're so out of control, but the truth is we're just not being honest with ourselves, and we're not going deep enough, and we're not committed enough to really uncovering what's really going on, getting truthful, getting real, and breaking through and doing whatever it takes. But you've got to believe it. So hope this is helpful. Last little check-in. Jodie's here, and Chris, much love to you, you beautiful human being. And Manpreet, happy Valentine's Day to you. So guys, as always, I am sending you all of my love, light, blessings, gratitude, energy, enthusiasm, everything extraordinary coming to you to wherever you are in the world today. I hope it's beautiful and amazing and extraordinary, and I hope today's message has inspired you, maybe a little bit of a kick in the butt to just get truthful, just get honest. And I just want you guys to feel true empowerment, and feel like you're in control of your life and you're willing to do whatever it takes. So my final little check-in, Angel and Lena, thank you so much, guys, for joining. I hope you catch a recording, get a ton of value from today's message. And Jodie, I love that you love reading my posts. Thank you so much for letting me know. That's touching my heart. So much love to all of you guys out there, and I cannot wait to see you guys tomorrow. Sending you all of my love, and I'll see you then.